Patricia Talks.
Welcome to Patricia Talks, the show where you get to hear stories from everyday people about their extraordinary lives, from authors to sports personalities, TV personalities, and entrepreneurs. Welcome to Patricia Talks. It's my absolute pleasure today. I have an amazing guest lined up. My guest today is Evidence Joel, mother of Richard Okorogheye, 19-year-old student who sadly went missing in March of this year. Evidence is here today to tell us about her story and how she is working to keep Richard's memory alive. It's my absolute pleasure. Evidence, welcome to Patricia Talks.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you for joining me.
It's lovely to be here.
It's a pleasure. I'm always happy when I'm in your presence. I think that you're amazing. So, Evidence, you and I first met in March of this year.
Yes.
But what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to tell us a bit about yourself, your country of origin, and then we're going to talk about Richard's journey. So let's hear about you first.
Okay. Well, my name is Evidence Joel, as Patricia said. I'm Nigerian, born in Nigeria, raised a little bit in Nigeria, and I came here. I did a few courses, university, then I studied nursing. And I'm still working as a nurse.
You're still working as a nurse.
Yeah.
So you've spoken about spending some time in Nigeria, you've come to the UK, you've trained to be a nurse.
Yes.
Today, one of the things we want to do in memory of Richard is we want to talk about the fact that he was a sufferer of sickle cell. So let's go back to the early years of Richard and when you first became aware that your son had sickle cell anemia.
Yes, Richard was 8 months when he was diagnosed of sickle cell disease. That's when our journey started at 8 months.
How did you find out?
We had to go after a referral from the RGP to hospital. He was tested and discovered that he had the full-blown sickle cell disease.
So was it that he'd been well up until this point? What was it that raised your awareness that something wasn't quite right?
Something wasn't quite right because Richard was most of the time crying, very clingy, he very, very attached, crying regularly. But that particular day, I was worried. I was concerned, and I called my GP. I said to the GP, "There's something not right with Richard. Could he check?" And that's when we were referred to hospital to see the hematology and get him tested. And as he was discovered that he had sickle cell disease. Yeah.
So did you have any idea that there might have been a possibility? Were you aware of sickle cell as a condition, or was it something that was quite new to you as well?
I would say it was quite new, and when I did find out, it was, to me, I was frightened, I was scared. I had to, this is new, very new things to me. It's something, I think if I had known early, I would have, thought about it differently, but it was all new to me when I was told that Richard had sickle cell. Because
actually, you have sickle cell trait.
Yes.
So when did you find out that you had sickle cell trait?
I was diagnosed later, and then his father was also diagnosed that he had it. So
it wasn't until you found out that Richard had sickle cell trait that you then both yourself and Dad.
Yeah, we checked. Yeah,
we
found that we both.
So for people that don't really know about this condition, what was it like being a parent to a child who has sickle cell?
It's the worst experience any parents can have. I mean, you could, especially he was my first child. I could. The joy of having a child is you cannot compare, and then again suddenly something, I call it tragic. It's the news that no parents wants to hear.
Sure.
And you're hit with that news, the whole world is collapsed. is a death sentence.
Sure.
When you hear the word sickle cell, you know that person's life is cut short.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, I've lost it all.
And I guess for you, just finding that out, it's a condition that many people don't know about. So were there any kind of support groups around? Was there anybody that you could talk to about it?
Yes, I had Sickle Society were amazing at that time. I had people came from that department and, you know, spoke to me about sickle cell, and if there's any help I need, they will be there to help me. Questions and things that I don't know about, I should ask, and they will be able to help.
So what were some of the challenges that Richard faced as a young child with this condition?
School. Richard, he had a lot of time where he couldn't go to school. Because he was on hospital admission. He spent a lot of time at the hospital. And then, in fact, I remember most of the time the teachers had to send some homework, and I had to go collect it, and then he had to go through it at the hospital bed. Wow. And myself, I had to sometimes leave and go to work and come back. So hospital was our second home, really. Seeing your child going through that pain, that crisis, that you, as a parent, you don't, nobody wants to see their children suffer. I wanted to put myself in that shoe. Sure. I wanted to take that pain away from him. He didn't deserve to go through that.
So that sounds like a real challenge. You know, you have your baby, you're happy, you're celebrating as a first-time mum, and then at 8 months old, your baby that keeps crying and you can't quite work out what it is. You get given the news that he has sickle cell. Yourself and dad weren't even aware that you had trait.
No.
And two parents with trait will then likely produce a baby that has sickle cell. So Evidence, you said that you're a nurse, you've trained to be a nurse. In your training, was there any information around sickle cell?
No, we didn't. We didn't come across any information. It was not taught, actually, at the university. Not even when I was studying health and social care. Nothing like that. There was no topic on it at all. And it's very disappointing because, I mean, if we know this thing, if this sort of curriculum were there, I think our knowledge would be completely different.
Sure.
Definitely
That's quite shocking, actually, that if you have sickle cell, you require medical care. And if the medical professionals don't know about the condition, then how do they provide the correct support and care?
Exactly, because the care they will give is inadequate. You can't give a care to something that you don't know about. So unless you know what you're treating, then you treat it better. When you don't know, how do you treat something that you don't know?
Absolutely. That is quite shocking. So Evidence, let's fast forward a bit now. So most people know that the world has been hit by COVID and different forms of lockdown, and that there are people that were on the shielding list or considered vulnerable. Was Richard one of those patients? Yes,
Richard had to shield during that COVID pandemic because of his health. I was asked to stay away, and he did. He's very obedient. He only had to go out when he had his blood transfusion exchange. Otherwise, he didn't really. He couldn't go out. And when he did, they had a bubble. We call it bubble downstairs, where they just hang around little, and he comes back to his
so he had his bubble with his friends that lived
just a little
locally.
Bubbles that they had.
So he was shielding, he had a bubble, but he was actually at college, wasn't he? Richard was a student. Tell us about what he was studying.
Yeah, Richard finished college, so he was at university, Oxford Brookes, cybersecurity. He wanted to go into that. He was particularly interested in the security side of things. He wanted to make a difference to society. He was also very creative. Richard created. He built his own computers. Wow. He had a clothing line. He was doing a lot for himself.
That is fantastic. So just at 19,
Yeah.
he had his own clothing line.
Yeah.
He'd finished college, he was
Yeah.
going to university,
Yeah.
shielding, and had a bubble and a small community of friends.
Yeah.
And as you said, he was very, very obedient.
He
so
was.
he only left home for blood transfusions. So we're going to talk some more about that. But we just want to go through, not in any real depth, but the world, I think, now knows Richard Okorogheye.
Yes.
They hear his name, they know his story. And that, you know, Richard is no longer with us, and that was an untimely incident and touched the world and hearts of many. So now you're thinking about how can you move on from this? And I understand that when you first reported Richard missing, this was quite difficult because of the police response. What was their initial responses?
The initial responses was very, very negative. I was not taken seriously. I felt that I was dismissed, basically.
So, as a parent, your child goes missing. Where do you go? Of course, you go to the police because
Most
that's
definite, yeah.
what people do. In fact, if your car goes missing, you go to the police and
Most
report that your car's missing.
Absolutely.
So you would have expected that the police would have supported you. But when I visited you, we did a video and that went viral. And lots of people were sharing the fact that Richard was missing via social media. I understand that those were the things that made the change.
Yes.
Those were the things
The
that made
media
change.
actions, it made a huge change.
And so now everybody was aware that Richard was missing and understood your story. So now evidence, I mean, that's a tragedy that as a parent myself, I can only partly imagine. What you've done, however, though, is you've now thought about, okay, so this is what's happened, but how can the memory of my son live on? Tell us what you've been doing to make that happen.
Wow. We've been working with the NHSBT, ACLT on sickle myself, putting together, and mothers actually putting together stories. The stories basically encouraging our Black ethnic minority to come together and register to donate in memory of Richard, in memory, apart from Richard anyway, it just come out and donate because we don't have enough of it. We need more of it. It's not, Richard has benefited from it when he was with us. And I know other people will benefit as well. When Richard was having his, he had, whenever Richard has had his exchange, he looked better. He was stronger.
So why is it important for African Caribbean people to be the donors for each other? Why is that important?
It's important because we have something we call RO subtype. It's something that we demand is a special blood, special ingredient that we need, and we carry it. And with someone that has sickle, is perfect for that person, and this is why we're asking our community to come together and go register to donate.
So it's about better matching.
Absolutely.
It's about better matching.
Yeah.
And I think that what's great is that you have joined forces with the amazing Beverly DeGale and Orrin Lewis, and they have for years been trying to encourage people from the African Caribbean Society to donate blood. So we know also that sadly Daniel DeGale, his life was cut short.
Yes.
How important is it for you to work with somebody like Beverly and Orrin?
I tell you, Patricia, it's a privilege. It's an honor. I mean, who am I to have such a privilege to work with such incredible they're incredible. They're incredible. And I feel that we can go a long way working together.
I think I was really excited when I found that they were supporting you because for you to have somebody that has experienced the loss of a child can only help you to kind of look forward. And so I'm really excited about the work that you're doing together. So on Wednesday, 25th of August,
Yes.
was the launch of Bonded by Blood, a Mother's Story. Tell us about that.
The mother's story, I mean, that 25th, it was an incredible day. We launched a mother's story, Bonded by Blood. Again, like I said earlier, just a group of mothers coming together to raise awareness on how important it is for our Black community to come together and donate and register to donate. Although it's in the memory of Richard, like I said earlier, but we are here. You know, we're encouraging people to come out and save life.
I think you also had spent some time with the other mothers. How has that union helped you to move forward with this story?
It's so encouraging because what happened was, I mean, sometimes you think you're the only one that has a story to tell, Patricia. You find out that everybody has a story to tell with different experience, with different... It's just incredible hearing individual story. And you literally put yourself in the shoe, you automatically relate, and that alone is incredible. You're at home.
I guess that helps you with your healing.
Yeah, it does.
Because you've got other people who have a sense of what your journey,
absolutely.
journey is like.
Yeah.
You've also set up a foundation, the Richard Okorogheye Foundation. And tell us what you've been doing with that. Where have you been going? What sort of people have you been meeting?
Well, we've got together with a group of people in Kensington and Chelsea, planning to, do some sessions in hydration, hopefully. And then,
why is hydration important?
Hydration is so important, especially with people with sickle. We need to be hydrated. You know, we cannot afford to be dehydrated because that is a very dangerous point in our life zone. Then again, we've also got some program coming up with Freddie. So we've got a lot of program lined up.
Who's Freddie? Tell us about Freddie and what
Freddie does a program with the youths, Black youth and community, encouraging them to achieve their aspirations. And they do a lot of music, a lot of entertaining, dancing. And, you know, they're just out there making a difference in people's life, really.
Evidence, you were saying that in terms of the awareness, it needs to branch out even in schools. Tell us your thoughts around that.
The school need to know what sickle cell is all about. They need to know the importance of donating blood. We also need to know, they need to know the fact that it's so important to go check your blood group. We also need to talk about the importance of having extra curriculum as well. You know, they need to know what sickle cell is. Even if it's one line saying, what is sickle cell? It's so important for us to know what it is. The basic knowledge about it
is important.
It's important.
So with the Bonded by Blood and with Richard's foundation, are the NHS on board?
They are NHSBT there, but they are the one driving the whole thing with ACLT behind it as well. They are on board, yeah.
So do you think with you now setting up the foundation, along with Beverly and Orin and the other mothers that you met with your story of Bonded by Blood, a mother's story, and the NHS coming on board, do you have a hope that this is going to change the type of training or the lack of training around this condition?
I hope so. I hope something. I hope this story will make a difference and it will encourage the, or at least the education minister will look into it, thinking about the areas of bringing in extra curriculum when it comes to sickle cell.
You spoke about Fred and the work that he's doing and how important it is for children to have extracurriculum activities, and largely because that helps with raising their self-esteem. Tell us what keeps you going after this tragedy. How do you continue day after day? What is it that you draw on?
I draw a lot of strength from reading the Bible, praying, and thinking about Richard. Richard is my backbone. I remember those days when I'm sitting down quietly, and he used to come and say, "Mommy, come on, what are you thinking about? Get up, come on, you're stronger than that." So he gives me a lot of strength. And because of the kind of person he is, I want to, you know, carry him. He is in me already, but I wanted to, that he gave me so much strength that I you know, every morning I wake up and I am inspired to do something different, you know, to carry that memory, because that's what he would want me to do. Because if I decide to lie down, it means that to me, I'm not doing what he would have been happy. So me getting up each morning, I'm sure he's saying to me, "Mommy, thumb up. You're going to carry on from where I've stopped."
I love that. Because children draw on us as parents for strength, don't they? We know everything. We've got all the answers. So the fact that you are now continuing to draw on his strength because he encouraged you so much is amazing. And I'm sure that Richard is very proud of all that you're doing. So talking about strength, evidence, what can you say that can reach out to those who don't understand the importance of blood transfusions and how that made Richard's life a successful one up until the time, of course, that he went missing? What can you say to them, do you think?
I'm saying to them is that seeing my son benefited from that, from blood exchange. Whoever gave my son that blood gave my son hope. It made him a stronger person until he passed on. And if you look at, personally, when I look at that, it's so important, and each and every one of us should also think about tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows what will happen to us tomorrow.
Sure.
So they need to think about how important it is, because anything can happen to our relative, our loved one. Nobody wishes bad on anybody, but it's so important to, you know, to see what you can do, and what we are asking individuals, especially our Black community, to you know, to think about the way they can save life. No, we're not asking for money, and what we are asking is for us to go out there and register to donate. It's so important, because it could be our sister, it could be our brother, it could be anybody.
Sure.
And that is, when you give blood to somebody, you're giving somebody hope. You give somebody life. You give somebody the opportunity to achieve their aspiration. You give somebody the opportunity to live to see tomorrow. You give somebody the opportunity to achieve what they thought they would never achieve. You give somebody life, and that means everything to that person. And that's why it's so important.
So everything to that person, and everything to their parents and their family.
And the community.
And the community. And what we're saying is that African Caribbean people are not coming out enough.
Yeah, they are not coming out enough, and they need to. We need to. We need to help ourselves. We're not helping ourselves. And then when something happens, we blame other people. But we can help us, and we can change our community. We can change life.
Absolutely.
We can do that if we can all come together, you know, and let's do something amazing. Then maybe we could be taken seriously. Maybe we don't have to blame other people for our mistakes and whatever is going wrong in our community. We should help ourselves, and we need to do that now, not tomorrow. Now.
Now, we need to do it now.
Yeah.
So evidence, we did speak briefly about the fact that the police weren't very supportive, but what's your thoughts around how supportive the community were across the country?
The community were brilliant. In fact, the country were brilliant. I mean, there was so much love, so much prayers. I don't even know how to express myself, but I mean, they were there when I needed them, and they're still there. I still receive cards, I still receive flowers, I still get texts and saying, we're still thinking of you, you're not alone. That alone, Patricia, is moving. You know.
How amazing.
Yeah.
Because really, it was that people were asking every day. People still ask. I also get some of those text messages asking how, you know, how you are. and saying that you're in their thoughts. And so you're absolutely right about how the community can come together and make a difference when we need some help. We can't always rely on the police to get the help that we need specifically.
Yes.
We can't always rely on other people to provide blood for us because we need specific blood so that it's relative, relates to us, and is a better match. So we're asking everybody to come out.
Yeah.
So
in masses.
In masses. So what do they need to do? How can they get involved in the campaign that you're running? It's now launched on Wednesday, 25th of August. How can people get involved? What do they need to do?
They need to call we've got a hotline already, which we're going to show at the end of it.
Sure.
We've got a website as well. They can call in and register. There's somebody there would immediately answer your call. All you need to do is call in, register. They'll take your booking, go to the nearest center and donate.
And you're having stalls in different places, aren't you?
We are.
Yeah. Can you remember some of the places that you're having them?
The one we have, the nearest one is in Westfield, Shepherd's Bush. That's not far. So our community here can go.
Sure.
We've got one again in Stratford, Westfield as well. We've got one in Birmingham. We've got one in
is it Manchester?
In Manchester. We've got some in Brixton. We've got many.
And it's Chelsea Football Club.
Chelsea as well.
Football Club.
Yeah, we have one there as well. So please call in, come in.
What do we think about the politicians? So lots of them came out to say get your jabs and get all that kind of stuff for COVID. How do we think that the politicians can help to make the change that you're asking for?
They can help. They can be the loud voice for it. They need to take it serious. They need to, the way they dealt with COVID-19, if they could do the same thing for people to come out and donate, I think that would be brilliant. So they need to be the loud voice for it.
Absolutely. We're also saying that sorry men, but we're saying that the men don't come out often enough. So we want all the men to come out. We want the mothers to come out. If you're old enough to donate blood, we want you to come out and make the change. This is in memory of Richard Okorogheye, and his mum is saying that blood transfusions helped him to have a full life. We're talking about the fact that Beverly DeGale and Orrin Lewis have been campaigning for years for the African Caribbean community to donate blood. Evidence is saying thank you to the community because you really helped her through the tragedy and you're still helping her today. So why not help her some more by donating blood? There are several places that you can do that. Also, watch out for the amazing story of Bonded by Blood, a mother's story. Come on, we want you to help us change lives. Evidence Joel, any final words from you before we end?
As Patricia said, come out in masses. We need you. We need your help. We need the RO type, subtype. Please come out. We need you. You need to come out and save life. Do something amazing today in somebody's life.
I think that's a great point to end. Do something amazing, especially in memory of the Daniel DeGales, the Richard Okorogheye, and all of those other young people who rely on, in fact, elders as well, not just young people, who rely on us as African Caribbean community to make a difference. This has been Patricia Talks. Thank you.